What's up, everybody? I'm Steve and welcome to Jerome's Chrome. I have 3 engines sitting here in my garage and 2 vehicles that need an engine. But at the moment, I'm not exactly sure which engine I want to go where, or even if maybe I should be considering buying another engine. I got a little bit of indecisiveness because I didn't pull the engines on either one of these vehicles for a quest for more horsepower. I pulled the engine on Flat Betty because it was leaking oil like a sieve. I pulled the engine on this C3 Corvette because it had a crack in the block. And if neither one of those things would have happened, both these vehicles would still be running their original engines. But now that those original low horsepower engines are out of there, I can't help but think to myself, while I'm in there, I could definitely use a little wisdom and opinions on this. So this week, let's talk engine choices and my plan for these 2 vehicles moving forward. I'll go ahead and introduce you to each engine individually and get a little history on each one. And then once you've been acquainted with everyone, then we'll talk about a plan on what to do moving forward. So this is what's left of the engine that came in Flat Betty. It's not even actually the original engine that came in the truck. This is a GM Goodwrench reproduction Hecho in Mexico engine that was put into the truck sometime in the 80s. I don't believe it has a ton of miles on it. I think it's in pretty good shape. The reason why I pulled it, like I said earlier, was because it was leaking tons of oil from the rear main seal, and just a lot of the seals and gaskets overall were kind of old and crusty because even though it hadn't had a ton of miles on it, it was still old. So I wanted to refresh all the seals and the timing chain and whatnot, but you know, I got a little bit of case of while I was in there and I pulled that cam that was in there out. So at this point, this engine is a block with the original pistons that came in it. It's got the crank, and that's pretty much it at this point. I still have every original part from the engine, and then I bought a bunch of new parts for it too when I took it apart, which was like a year and a half ago. So at this point, it's all in my storage unit, and I can't even honestly remember everything that I have. So let's just take a quick trip to the storage unit and go over the shelf, and we'll see what I do and do not have for this engine. Welcome to the storage unit. This is my shelf of Flat Betty parts right here, but I just got here a little bit ago and was just kind of wandering around. And I also have this pile right here of just random new old stock parts that I got from an estate sale a while back, and there is a lot of really cool stuff in there. But I'm not showing it to you just so I can brag about my totally sweet pile of new old stock parts that I got. I'm showing it to you because I rifled through there a little bit before I turned on the camera, and I pulled out this little pack right here of an old AC Delco air filter, oil filter, and spark plugs. And I figure I'm just going to give back to some of you guys that have been watching. So I'm going to do an impromptu, completely unofficial giveaway. And just, yeah, if you're interested in this little combo stuff, just throw a comment in the comment section and say that you're interested. And I'll just pick a random person out of the comments and send it on over to you. No official contest rules or anything crazy like that. No entry or anything. Just throw a comment down and say, hey, I'd like that stuff. And you're in. If nobody wants that stuff, I won't feel bad either. I just, I figured I'd throw it out there just in case maybe somebody's interested. But anyway, this is my shelf of Flat Betty parts. I got a radiator. The original heads are back here. They are 487X heads. Not sure if I should run those or not, or maybe get an aftermarket aluminum head, but I figure I might as well run those. I'm not sure if I can run those with the cam that I got or not. I mean, it's a mild cam. It's the Performer Plus camshaft and lifters, and this is old. I got this used from somebody for $100, but It's new old stock, but it's not that much more aggressive than a stock cam, just a little bit. I'll find the lift numbers on it and put it on the screen, but my question is if this cam has enough lift that I even need to get different springs, or if I could just use the stock springs that are in these heads and just run them. Because if I can just run them, I definitely will. This might also be a good time to learn how to kind of restore the heads, you know, do valve jobs and seals and whatnot. Never done that, so maybe I should refresh the heads. Maybe I should just throw them on the engine. I'm not quite sure about that yet. I got this Holley Contender intake here, and I have a Holley 4-barrel carburetor sitting here. The carburetor came on the truck, and the original intake is this one. It's actually a 2-barrel carb with this adapter on it, running a 4-barrel carb. So that wasn't an ideal situation. I got the original starter. I got all of the nuts and bolts and whatnot that came out of it, labeled in baggies. Fans and pulleys and exhaust manifolds, even though I have some headers in the garage that I'm going to use. I got the shiny chrome oil pan. I got the original oil pan. There's a distributor up there, and if that distributor or cap is jacked up, there's more in the new old stock pile here. Got a gasket kit here. More gaskets. Seals and whatnots that you would need to put the engine together. I don't have head gaskets yet. Timing chain and timing chain gears. Timing chain cover, chrome of course. These are both oil pump parts here. Boom. And this is a harmonic balancer. So pretty much, oh, and in here, I have the original cam, lifters, rods, everything else that came off the engine that I don't know, again, about if I should use those rods or not. They were all straight and looked fine. I don't see why I wouldn't, but I might want to get new rockers. I'm not exactly sure whenever you take it all apart what you can and can't reuse in this situation. So let me know in the comments if I would be able to reuse those rods and rockers with the new cam and new lifters. So unless I'm forgetting something, I'm pretty sure all I need to put that engine back together is just head gaskets, and then maybe do something with the heads and read through the comments and figure out if I should be using those rods and rockers or not. And I think that engine is pretty much good to start being assembled. So basically, if this engine, piston, rings, and crank are good, then I pretty much have a setup in which I can just bolt parts on top of and have a running engine pretty quick. My concern is obviously that I'm going to go through the whole process of putting it together and there's going to be an issue with the block or the crank or the pistons, which is going to make me have lots of regret that I didn't just rebuild it all in the first place. I have, however, had like 3 or 4 dudes that know a lot more about engines than me come over and check this thing out and say that they would run it. So based on their opinions, I feel like I got a pretty good base in which I can work with. So the plan was just use those parts, maybe get some new heads, maybe use the old heads, put this engine back together and throw it in flat Betty and just have a runner. But then I got the Corvette. My original plan for this car was to just get it running and driving, clean it up real nice, and then see what happens. But it had a crack in the block, so I've been going down the rabbit hole week after week after week ever since. This is the original engine from it. Like I said, it's got a cracked block, and it also has lots of rust throughout the cooling system because it was running water for a long time instead of coolant. So it has a lot of issues that need to be addressed on it. I would love to use as many parts from this engine as I possibly can for whatever is going to go into the Corvette next. But honestly, I don't even know if there's anything on this thing worth reusing. In the perfect world, I would rebuild this engine and put it back in the car eventually. Like maybe make it a stroker engine or do whatever I can to possibly squeeze as much horsepower as I possibly can out of it and have the original engine in there. But like I said, it is rough, and I don't know if there's any point in ever messing with this thing or if I should just take off the little parts that I possibly can and move on with something else. I do like the idea of having the original engine in the car, but I don't want to get all hung up on that fantasy and make a horrible decision because of it. Same thing goes for the transmission. It's a turbo 350. I don't know anything about it. I barely drove the car. I drove it in my driveway for the most part. I don't know how it shifts. I don't know how many miles are on it. Nothing. I don't know if this even the type of transmission I would want to use in the car, because it would be better to have an overdrive transmission so I can get a little less RPMs on the interstate and whatnot. However, I own this transmission currently, so, it would be ideal if I could not spend a ton of money on a new one and have to do tons of different modifications. I don't know if it's tons of different modifications, but I don't know. I don't know what modifications need to be done to put an overdrive transmission in that car, or if I should just put this one back in here right now due to the fact that I need to kind of keep it simple because this is all kind of new to me, So that's where I'm at with that. Not sure what to do with this engine at all. Not sure what I want to do with the transmission. And it's just sitting here while I figure things out. This last engine is something that I picked up recently as a replacement for the original Corvette engine. So technically this is a Facebook Marketplace rebuild. And I technically bought it from a guy that I never met before Facebook Marketplace. And am not 100% sure if I can trust him or not. However, I did talk with this guy for months ahead of time before buying this engine about this engine and different engines that he had rebuilt to kind of establish some trust. And I think he's a good dude, and I think he's not out to screw people over. However, I don't know for sure about his engine building abilities. So, I guess it's a little bit of a gamble instead of buying a brand new engine. But I guess it's a risk I was willing to take, because a brand new engine, I don't know how much it costs. It's a lot of money. It's like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Hard telling. That's crazy talk. I can't afford that right now. This was $2,000. Yes, not the cheapest thing in the world, and I probably could have got a better deal. I don't know if I could have got a better deal. I looked around for a long time. I looked around for months and months and months, and I've been looking at engines to possibly replace the one for Flat Betty for a long time. So I got a pretty decent idea of the Chevrolet 350 market, and I feel like this is a pretty good idea, a pretty good price if it ends up being what it's supposed to be. And here's what it's supposed to be according to the ad. I'm going to read what he wrote because I'm no engine expert, and he's the one that built it, so here's his words. Fresh build, 358 SBC, 350 board 40 over, rods reconditioned, new pistons, new 10 out of 10 crank, fresh bore, tanked, cam bearings, freeze plugs, torque plate honed, comp HYD 470 cam, fresh Vortec heads, 3-angle valve job, new comp springs, aluminum dual plane intake, new balancer, new flywheel, new oil pan, new oil pump, timing chain, new polished valve covers, and a shiny new black paint job. I got this engine for the Vice Grip Garage Corvette for a few reasons. Number one, it is very close to the original engine that came in the car, which will make it a whole lot easier for me to put back in the car. I can use the original transmission if I want to. I can use the same brackets and all the little parts that are on the outside of the engine that I need to get it running easily. Number two, seemed like a good engine. The guy seemed like he knows what he was talking about. It seemed like he put a good effort into it, and it was a pretty good price. Everything's fresh on there. It's got the Vortec heads, which flow better than the old style heads, and gives it a pretty good amount of horsepower for a cheap price and makes it easy to put in the car. It's a good, logical, well thought out, grown up decision to put this engine in this car. But I'm kind of having a little bit of second thoughts on if that's the engine that I want to put in here. First of all, as far as Flat Betty is concerned, I could just take this engine the way it is right now, throw it in that truck, and be ready to go way faster than if I assembled this engine. And second of all, I can hear the comments now. Why didn't you put a big block in it? Why didn't you LS swap it? Why didn't you put a stroker motor in there? And all of those comments completely make sense. And deep down inside, I'm commenting the same comments in my own head. Like, do I want to just put a nice, sensible engine in the Corvette? Or do I want to put something a little more rowdy in there? I mean, technically, I could put a 383 stroker in there and accomplish the same goals as I would with this new engine that I have in here as far as the ease of install and all that, and have an additional 50 to 7,500 horsepower. So part of me is just kind of waffling on which engine I want to go with on the C3 Corvette. And like I said earlier, part of me deep down inside would like to put the original engine back in there. Maybe build it into a stroker engine. I don't know if it's just a ridiculous idea to weld that block and get it all cleaned up and turn it into something, or if the crack is the crack and it's done and move on. I need advice, but not what would you do advice. I need what you would do if you were me advice on this one. You guys know, if you've watched the channel, I'm a novice and I'm getting deep. I'm getting deep into some stuff here. So something like an LS swap or putting in a big block or something like that is going to probably take me a lot longer than it would take a normal bro who knows what he's doing. I do think I have the ability to put this original Flat Betty engine back together. And I do think that with the help of a machine shop, I could eventually build an engine. But I think it's probably best if I have both of these cars running before I do a full engine build. So right now, I'm just kind of looking for advice, opinions, wisdom from you guys. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should put this engine back together and put it in Flat Betty? Do you think I should take this engine that I originally got for the Corvette and put it in Flat Betty so I can at least get it running? Maybe build this engine into something that I end up putting in the Corvette? Or should I just go ahead and start saving up now for a future stroker motor to put in the Corvette down the road? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is an awesome problem to have and a completely non-stressful decision. But, you know, it is an easy decision to waffle on. And there's been a lot of times over the course of working on these cars on video that you guys have made comments that have allowed me to see into the future mistakes that I was going to make and prevent me from making them. And since this is a pretty big decision, I would love to know what you guys think. So thank you so much for your comments. Let me know what you think of these three engines, and let me know if there's something that I'm not thinking of that I should know about before I embark on this journey. I'm really excited to see what you guys think and put together a plan moving forward. In the meantime, I'm gonna get back to work on the C3 Corvette and get something done. I'll see you next week.